I want you to watch this video before you even think about approaching another girl again. Cue the intro.
Okay.
What's up, man? So in this video, like I said, I want to give you 3 mistakes to completely avoid before approaching a girl ever again. And this doesn't even just apply to approaching women, but just in conversation in general with a girl that you like. Because when you do any of these things, not only are you going to kill any sexual tension or any attraction that she has for you, but you're also making it harder for you to frame yourself in the right way. And that's as the buyer here, that she's the one who's working towards. So first mistake, this one's more of an approaching one, and that is approaching a girl from behind. Now, I've seen girls, there's specifically a scene in the movie Spread with Ashton Kutcher where he approaches a girl from behind, and it goes pretty well.
Up line, everything else is cheese. Hi. What's your name?
However, in real life, when you approach a girl from behind and she doesn't physically see you coming first, then it's kind of like a shock. And women, they're just naturally, because obviously they're tinier than men, they just naturally have their defenses up to weird scenarios or weird people that they don't know. And this is just ingrained into female DNA, right? And so when you approach a girl from behind, not only did she not see you coming, so it kind of just shocks her, but when she's in that state of mind, and remember, women, and especially seduction, it's all based off of emotions and how you feel in the moment and how she's feeling in the moment. And in that moment, she's feeling tensed up, her defenses are raised, and it's almost never gonna go well for you. I'll just tell you that much. So when you see people do this successfully in the movies, take that with a grain of salt, and also realize if you want to approach a girl, I don't think there should be anything holding you back from just going straight up over to her and talking to her. But if you must approach her from behind, then I highly suggest you tap her on the shoulder or something and say, excuse me, and then wait until she turns around and locks eye contact with you before you start blabbering your damn mouth away. Does that make sense? All right, perfect. Now let's get into the second mistake that I see a lot of guys make in conversation, especially when approaching women, and that is waiting for her to lead. Waiting for her to lead. Now, I'm hoping many of you viewers out there have actually gone out and approached women in different scenarios: daytime, nighttime, social environments, parties, bars, nightclubs, etc. And in the non-social environments, the grocery stores, the coffee shops, the streets, wherever you're at. I promise you, if you've gone out and approached a girl in a non-social environment where she's not necessarily expecting to get hit on, you've likely experienced a moment where you approach this girl, things go well in the first 30 seconds, she seems receptive to at least talking to you, but for whatever reason, she's not coming out of her shell, she's not adding much into the conversation, and you're the one who kind of has to keep the conversation going at first. And if you weren't expecting it at first, you might be like, why is this girl not responding to me? Maybe she doesn't like me, and that tension kind of builds up within your own body, and you kind of just go, okay, this is too much tension, I'm gonna dip out. And you go, well, it was nice talking to you, and you leave. In reality, it's not the fact that she was rejecting you or she wasn't interested in talking to you. It's simply the fact that you were the one who approached her. And you should expect, especially when it's in a non-social environment where she's not expecting guys to hit on her once a minute, right? Which is completely different than if you were in a bar or a nightclub, especially if she's one of those girls who's traditionally good looking, right? So if you, and by the way, I don't know why you'd be approaching a girl who's not good looking. Obviously, only approach the girls that you find attractive. But listen, in that situation where she's not expecting to get hit on, she's not in a social mood, right? And you know this yourself. When you go out, you probably have to talk to a few people first and, stumble over your words for a few times, like me making videos when I stutter a couple times. You got to break out of your shell a little bit, right? You got to get into that social mood and that social flow state to where the words are just flowing naturally, right? And when you approach a girl out of nowhere, obviously, it's a bold thing to do and it's great to do, but until she kind of breaks out of that social shell and that shell and shakes off the rust a little bit, then you got to expect that you're going to be the one who has to carry the conversation for at least the first 1 to 2 minutes. Does this make sense? And this is just like an example, very minor, from the very beginning of the interaction that you're the one who's leading the interaction. And when you're able to lead the interaction and not get emotionally reactive to the tension of like, why isn't she contributing back to the conversation, then it just shows and implies to her that you have experience in these situations. And it's actually a very charismatic and poised thing to do, and poise is something you want to actually, kind of embody at all times. If you look up the definition on poise, I believe it's something like being very self-assured in yourself and having confidence, right? And it's just someone who kind of just doesn't seem to mess up very much. Well, when you know how to lead a girl down the seductive path, when you're building attraction first, you're the one who's carrying the conversation until she breaks out of her shell. You're the one who's qualifying her, trying to get her to just sell herself to you. That way you can be the one who's approving of her and holds the power in this interaction, right? And she's actually the one chasing you. For you to do that, you have to know how to lead her down the seductive path, meaning that you have to know what the steps of seduction are. But when you just lead it forward and it's natural, then that shows poise, and it actually implies that you have experience here, which implies that if you have experience, then other women might like you, which is implied pre-selection. That's a cool term that I talk about a lot in my book. Implied pre-selection, the things that you do that indirectly imply that you have a lot of options with women, which is obviously very attractive, which leads me into the final mistake that I want you to completely avoid when approaching women for the first time is if you approach a girl, if you never at any point in time, whether it's verbally or non-verbally, go direct. I don't care where you are, where you approach this girl, if you get introduced to her at a party, if you approached her in the middle of a park or something, you must be going direct at some point. And when I say go direct, I mean showing that you have attraction for her. You are physically interested in her and seeing if she's a viable, seductive, sexual partner that could be doing sideways gymnastics with you in a few hours, if not a few minutes, all right? For you to do that, you must at some point go direct, either verbally or non-verbally. So I'll give you the examples. If you approach her in a non-social environment, it's very common that if you want to consistently get girls interested in you, you got to kind of be bold and give her a reason why you're approaching her in a non-social environment. So going direct and saying, I'm talking to you literally because I thought you were attractive and I wanted to come over and see if the personality matched the face. Something like that. It's a little bit of a teasing line, but it's literally telling her why you're talking to her. That way the frame is set that I'm not trying to be your friend here. This is a man to woman interaction. That's the example of how you go direct verbally if you were just in a non-social environment. But even in a social environment, when you approach a girl at a bar or a nightclub and she's getting hit on by a lot of guys, so when you say, hey, I'm actually talking to you because I find you attractive, it doesn't mean much in that environment because the context of that approach is different. The context of that situation is different. So in that situation, you would still be going direct, but it would be non-verbally. You would be fully squared up to her. You would be in her bubble a little bit. You would be touching her and breaking the touch barrier and slowly escalating from there. You would be holding strong and dominant and relaxed eye contact, what I call the seductive gaze, which is literally secret number 3 in my book, right? And there's a reason why it's secret number 3, because the third thing that I want to tell you in that book is probably one of the most effective things in the book. So the seductive gaze, you're giving her the seductive gaze. She's reciprocating, giving that back to you. So in general, and this doesn't apply, I'm not saying by any means that you couldn't go direct verbally in a social environment where she's getting hit on a lot. You can definitely do both, right? There's just percentages. What's more likely to work out in that situation? I would say in that situation, maybe in a social environment, a party, a bar, a nightclub, you want to be going direct more non-verbally and a little bit less verbally. And if it's verbally, make it a reward for her investing into the conversation. Oh, I knew I liked you for a reason other than just your looks or something like that. It's one of those comments that you can throw in. It's quick, it's teasing, but it plants seeds that I'm the buyer in this interaction. So hopefully that makes sense, man. And hopefully these 3 mistakes really opened up your eyes. And I hope that the examples that I provided really give you the ability to reflect back on some of your recent approaches or interactions or dates with women. And hopefully moving forward, you can fix all those and be the most attractive version of yourself. Now that said, if you don't already have my book and you want to learn how to consistently attract women, I've got 107 proven ways to create sexual tension in a conversation and get her attracted to you, whether this is a girl you're in the friend zone with or a girl that you just met. If you would like that book, it's currently 100% free for the first 500 guys only. So if you want that book, go to howtogetthegirlnow.com and we'll literally ship you a physical book. The book is free. All we ask is that you help cover the small shipping and handling costs. We'll ship it to you anywhere in the world. Or if you just want to get the ebook and you don't want to pay for shipping, or you're just like embarrassed that you're gonna have a dating advice book, then dude, the option to grab the ebook is also on the order form, as well as the audiobook. So I got you covered on all bases. So that's it. I'm gonna get out of here, man. I actually have a flight to catch in about an hour. I'm going to Canada for the first time ever. Super excited. I'll let you know how it goes. Peace out.